What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and today we're going to discuss 10 important things that I wish I knew before moving to Myrtle Beach. You know, I've been living now here in the Myrtle Beach area since 1998. I know, 26 years that I've been down here. I've lived here now in Myrtle Beach more than I've been alive. But since I moved here, there have been things that I've experienced over the years that, well, they just drove me a little crazy at times, and I wish somebody had taken the time to share this information with me before I ever moved here so that I knew and could make my move to Myrtle Beach a little bit easier. So I'm gonna share with you my top 10 things that I think you need to know before moving to the area. The first thing on the list that we're gonna talk about is the weather. You know, here in Myrtle Beach, we do get to experience all 4 seasons of the year, but you don't need to bring everything with you for the 4 seasons. When we moved down here from Pennsylvania, we carried along and lugged in one of the moving trucks the snow shovels, the snow blower, the parkas, the heavy jackets, the extra layers of pants, the hoodies, everything that you need for all the winter cold. We brought it all with us. And the reality is we never used them. And we couldn't even sell them because nobody wanted to buy them here because you're never gonna use it. In Myrtle Beach, yes, we do get to experience all 4 seasons of the year. We have a beautiful, awesome springtime where everything's in bloom. Now at the same time, your allergies are gonna know that everything's in bloom, but it's a gorgeous time. Then we have summer that comes along. And well, guys, summer, it's just hot. It's humid, it's muggy, it can get a little sticky when you go outside at times. If you're gonna be outside for more than 4 to 5 minutes at a time, just be prepared when you go home that night to take a shower because you're more than likely gonna be sweaty. We then have the gorgeous fall that comes along where the leaves are gonna fall. Now, it's not falling leaves like up in Virginia and Pennsylvania because we don't have the big, huge maple leaf trees in the area. So what do we have that falls? Pine straw. Yeah, I mean, it's really great to see, and the leaves fall off the crepe myrtles and the flowers die off, but that's about it. And then comes along winter, and our winters here in the area are extremely mild. In fact, I've mentioned before, I have 3 children. My youngest is now 9 years of age. In her lifetime, she has seen snow 3 times. Yes, 3 whole times that we've had snow here in Myrtle Beach. And the last time that it snowed, I think was probably one of the best snowstorms I've ever experienced in my life. We went to bed on a Friday night, not knowing it was gonna be cold overnight and snow. And when we woke up in the morning on Saturday morning, my 9-year-old, which I think about 7 at the time, comes running in the room. Dad, Mom, there's snow on the ground. Huh, what? We look out the window, sure enough, there was snow that was laying on the ground. So we bundled up in our 8 layers of clothing that's not really made for winter to keep our warm, went outside, created snowballs, and started to have a snowball fight. Everybody on our street seemed to be out at the same time doing this because it's not something we see regularly. So we all had a big snowball fight in the neighborhood, did that for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, went inside, shedded off the different layers of clothes that we had, made breakfast, and as we were putting the dishes from breakfast into the dishwasher, we looked out the front door and all the snow was melted away. Personally, I think that is the best type of snow that you can experience. So get rid of all of your heavy winter gear before you come down here. You're not gonna need it. The second thing on the list that I wanted to talk about today is wildlife and insects that take place here in the Myrtle Beach area. When I am talking to someone who is moving to Myrtle Beach, one of the things that they always ask me is, Jeremy, are there alligators there? Yes, alligators do exist in South Carolina and they do exist in different parts of Myrtle Beach. We lived in a neighborhood one time where there were several alligators that lived in the ponds throughout the development. My kids thought they were cool. They actually went and named each of them. One of them was called like Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. I don't know why, but that's what they called it, Reese's. But when it comes to alligators, here's the reality. You don't have to worry about them that much. If you don't bother them, they're not going to bother you. I remember several years ago, I took a trip up to Alligator Adventure up in Barefoot Landing. If you've never checked it out, go check it out. It's a cool spot. But they feed the alligators there a couple times a day. And when they were feeding them, the guy was out explaining about how they eat and out in the wild, how to find an alligator and what to be concerned about with it. And one of the things he shared was this: alligators as a whole are pretty lazy animals. They're not going to go chase after their food. They're literally going to lay there, wait until the food walks over its nose and eat it just like that. In fact, the statistics about people being killed by alligators are kind of crazy at times. Did you actually know more people statistically die a year by a lawnmower than by an alligator, yeah, don't worry about it, you're safe. So in addition to the alligators, we also have some really weird and crazy bugs and insects that are in the area. Yes, you're gonna find the spiders, you're gonna find the ants. We also though have a lot of termites that can be in the area. Earwigs or something you may find. And the one that bothers my wife the most is the palmetto bugs or roaches that might crawl across the floor. The spiders, they don't bother. Ants, no big deal. But when she sees those roaches, I have to go take care of them. How do you do that? You go up to them, you give it a good stop till you get that crunch that takes place, and you know you got the job done. So when it comes to all these different weird insects and bugs you might find, if you take care of your house, giving it a spray once a quarter, you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, buy something, hook it to your hose, spray around the foundation of your house. It's gonna take care of all of that bug issues for you right away. All right, number 3 on the list is Myrtle Beach is more than just Myrtle Beach city limits. When you talk to people and you look online at statistics and numbers, people look up Myrtle Beach population, but they're looking up the city population. That number is right around 40,000. But if you look up the population of the entire area, the county of Horry County, that number is closer to 400,000. So it's a huge, huge difference. Myrtle Beach is made up of a lot more than just that city limit section. There's North Myrtle Beach, Little River, Loris, Longs, Garden City, Surfside Beach, Carolina Forest, Conway, Aner, so many different places that are all in the area. And when people are talking about moving to the Myrtle Beach area or living in Myrtle Beach, it's kind of like my wife when she talks about where she's from. She says that she's from Atlanta. Well, she doesn't live in downtown Atlanta in the city. She lived growing up on the northern end in Alpharetta. But to someone who doesn't know Alpharetta, doesn't know Milton or Roswell or those different sections of the area, she just simply says Atlanta, and people go, oh, cool. It's kind of the same thing here in Myrtle Beach. So Myrtle Beach is definitely a lot more. And when you're thinking about places to live, you definitely want to check out some of those other sections. Why? Because inside the city limits, that's where a lot of the tourism takes place. So if you want to have that kind of relaxing, peaceful life, you may not find that inside city limits. Back several years ago, my wife and I, we lived at a house inside Myrtle Beach city limits. It was 1,000 yards from the ocean and right off of 17. It was a great place to live. We had an amazing location, could walk to the beach every single day. But at the same time, it was an exhausting location to live. Why? Because every single night, multiple times a night, ambulance and fire trucks would go flying up 17 with their lights on and the sirens blaring, and it would wake us up. We couldn't sit in our backyard and enjoy it peacefully because there was always stuff going on. Or there were cars racing up and down the road all the time with music loud and all those things. And it just made it where it was a very unrestful place to live at times. So if you want to have peace and quiet and have all that relaxation, you definitely want to check out all of Myrtle Beach, not just inside the city limits. Number 4 on the list, and this one kind of caught me off guard, but are you a cock or a tiger? People want to know right away. Are you a fan of the South Carolina Gamecocks or are you cheering for the Clemson Tiger? If you pick the wrong one in the wrong crowd, it could be bad news for you. But this is something that people here in Myrtle Beach and in South Carolina take very seriously. As someone who grew up in Pennsylvania, we had professional teams. So as you can see, and it's behind me here on my shelf, I'm a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'm a fan of the Philadelphia Phillies, the Sixers, professional teams. I never really paid attention to college football, basketball, any of those things growing up. But down here in South Carolina, there really isn't a professional team. Yes, I know we have the Carolina Panthers that's supposed to be shared between North and South Carolina, but I don't really count that as a professional team. So instead, what we have here in this area is huge rivalries that take place about Clemson and South Carolina. In fact, it's kind of funny. Last year, our church hired a new lead pastor. And when they brought him in for the question and answer with the congregation, one of the people stood up, and the question that they asked to him, you could ask him about anything in the world. Their question was, are you a Clemson Tiger fan or a South Carolina Gamecock? Yeah, it's that serious around here, guys. So when you move here, if you're not a fan of either of them, you better pick one ahead of a time or get the decision made pretty quickly, because you're gonna have to choose a side and make sure you pick the right one, or it could be misery in the long run. So number 5 on the list is, when you go out to restaurants, if you want to drink, make sure you pay attention to how you order your tea. You know, I grew up in Pennsylvania, as I mentioned before, and we could only order iced tea one way. Well, down here in the South, there's 2 ways to get iced tea. You can either get the unsweetened, which I was used to growing up, or you can get that sweet, smooth amazingness sweet tea. There's a lot of places here on the beach to go get it. If you want one quick, check out places like Bojangles. You can grab one of those. Cookout, Chick-fil-A has some good ones. But when you go to the good restaurants, you have to make sure that you order it the right way, because if not, they're gonna serve you sweet and you're gonna, whoa, what is this? Especially if you're someone not used to it. So make sure you order your tea right, or you might get a surprise. Number 6 is one that I always find funny, and it's one that helps us to realize who's a local, who understands what it's like living here, and who's not pretty quickly. And that talks about the name of the county that we live in. We live in Horry County. It is spelled H-O-R-R-Y. The H is silent, just like in honest, or hour, or air. These are things that people don't realize, and they come down here and they say, well, I'm buying a house in Horry County, and you know, I got to go down to the Horry County tax assessors. And when people say that to a local, right away they go, they ain't from around here. Now, if you really want to try to blend in and people not realize that you're not from around this area, you have to say it with a little bit of a southern drawl, and you have to say it like this: Horry County. It's O-R-E-E, Horry County, and you'll fit right in just good. Number 7 on our list is the back gate. This is an area of the beach that when we moved here, people would talk about the back gate, the back gate, the back gate. Oh, well, that business is just south of the back gate, or over if you go take a left at the back gate. And I'll go, where the heck is the back gate? The back gate is a section of Myrtle Beach. It used to be a stoplight down by the back gate to the old Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. You could go in there, and that's where you would turn and go in through the physical gate into the Air Force Base. Well, once the Air Force left the area, it got turned into different things, and now it's actually a commercialized section where you have the Market Common. In fact, they recently took out the stoplight, which used to be one of the longest stoplights in all of Myrtle Beach. In fact, back in the day, there was an app, it was called Foursquare, where you could check in at places. I would be sitting there for so long that I could pull out my phone, check in. I was the mayor of the back gate stoplight. But the back gate is a section down in Myrtle Beach where if somebody mentions it, now you know where to go. Number 8 on our list is to know the roads here in the Myrtle Beach area. There are some roads that you don't want to take at certain times of the day. There are also some roads that you just want to try to avoid whenever possible. And then there's other roads like Highway 31 that is just a godsend that you can take and want to use whenever possible to get anywhere around the beach. 31, it's a road that's a 6-lane highway, 65-mile-an-hour speed limit. You get on, there's no stoplights, there's no stop sign. You can just get on and go. And you can get from up in the Little River area of Myrtle Beach all the way down to the southern end, down into the St. James Burgess area in a matter of about 40 minutes from the northern end to the southern end. If that road did not exist, that would probably take you an hour and a half at least to go that route in the middle of summer. So 31 definitely is something that helps you. You also want to pay attention to the roads and the avenues. Inside Myrtle Beach, there's a 38th Avenue on the southern end. There's a 38th Avenue on the northern end. But then you go over into the city of North Myrtle Beach, and there's another 38th Avenue south and another one up on the north. So you have to pay attention to number 1, the city, south or north, when picking out roads where you're going to go. And you also, as I mentioned, have to pay attention to the time of day and the surroundings and things that are going on. I remember back when we first moved here, we lived over in the Briarcliff area section of Myrtle Beach, and we wanted to go to the movies. And it was just like a 3-mile ride down to the movie theater that we were going to go to. But it was a weekend in the middle of summer, storms and rains going on, and the roads were bumper to bumper with traffic. It took us close to 2 hours to travel just like 4 or 5 miles down to the movie theater. Why? Because everybody and their aunt and uncle couldn't go to the beach. So what are we going to do? Let's go travel everywhere, and everyone got on the road at the same time. So definitely pay attention to your roads, know your directions, and it's gonna help you a lot in the long run. Number 9 on the list is one that has caused a lot of grief with people and probably got people up in arms the most with me, is some of the statements I've ever made here on this channel. And that is, when it comes to seafood, the best seafood in Myrtle Beach is never on a buffet. I know so many people love to go to the big buffets that are here and just chow down on the crab legs and eat all the shrimp that you've ever wanted in your life and have all that seafood. And that's great and that's fine if I just want to eat a crazy amount of things. But personally, I'd rather eat quality instead of quantity. And when you go to these big seafood buffets that are here in the area, most of that seafood is not fresh. It's coming from a seafood farm, probably out in the middle of like Iowa or something like that, flash frozen, put into a container and shipped across the country, and then either microwaved or thrown in a deep fryer to cook it here in the area. So is that really good seafood? Probably not my favorite. Instead, I'd rather go eat fresh seafood. I'd rather go eat at like Sea Captain's house, or go down to the inlet where some of the seafood there is fresh just off the boats that day. So if you're looking for good seafood, the buffets is definitely not the place for it. And number 10 on our list today, the final one, is learn to love the low country here in the area. Now, what is low country? Low country is a style, it's a lifestyle, it's things that are just awesome here to Myrtle Beach. Why is it called the low country? Well, the ground here in this area, it's low. If you look at the elevation here in my office where I'm shooting today, well, I'm about 30 feet above sea level. Yeah, 30 feet. It's not high at all. So there's a lot of great things though that also go along with the low country. Things like the Loris Bog Off and Chicken Bog. Chicken Bog is something I never heard of till I moved here. But to somebody who's local, who's lived here for a while, Chicken Bog is a religion almost to them. And going to the Loris Bog Off is something that they put on their calendar years in advance to do. What is Chicken Bog, you might be asking? It's basically a simple combination of chicken, rice, and smoked sausage, all cooked together in a pot, and you eat it. Doesn't sound like it's real fancy, but it is rather good. And if it's seasoned right, like my buddy Jarrett makes, man, it can be really, really good stuff. So low country is something you definitely want to check out. And guys, one bonus tip, I have to just throw in this bonus for you because it's something you definitely need to know. And that is this: when you move to Myrtle Beach, you're moving here to relax. You're moving here to live a better life, to get away from the craziness, to get away from the cold, to get away maybe from the politics or whatever it might be. You're moving to here to relax and enjoy life. And you have to just take that in consideration and physically do it moving forward. That means when you get here, don't get upset if the contractor doesn't show up in the first hour he's supposed to be here. If they say they're coming on Tuesday, make sure you find out which Tuesday they're actually talking about, because it might not be this one. It might be 1, 2, or 3 weeks down the road. You never know. But overall, you have to realize that here in South Carolina, here in the Myrtle Beach area, things are done a little bit slower. Things are done a little bit more laid back. And once you can get that into your system that, you know what, I moved to Myrtle Beach to have a more relaxed, laid back lifestyle. I want to have a better overall quality of life. And I can't change the people around me, so I might as well join them. And you get into that mindset, that's when you're really going to start to love living here in the Myrtle Beach area. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video on important things you need to know before moving to Myrtle Beach. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get the bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.